Thank you, Mario, but our princess is in another castle. Goombas, Shy Guys, and Pixel Pirates thereupon. This is Escapism. Hello and welcome to the show. My name is Oodles, the Deep Cover Gecko. And joining me today, it's Biggie Pro Skater 2.
Yes, I'm not last.
Also, we have Dance Dance Candy Revolution.
Hello.
We also have International Superstar Stig 1998.
Up the Reds, 2 down, 2 to go.
And
you started them off.
And last but not least is my Final Fantasy. It's Gadget.
Oh, aren't you canny?
Yeah. Before we get into the show, please consider becoming one of our sexy and incredibly cool patrons to help us divide and conquer the podcast world. Details are in the show notes. And mainly check out our website, modernescapism.co.uk, for more exquisite content and links to everything we do. And now, it's time for our oldest segment of the show. It's Biggie's breaking news as of last week.
Good evening. Here is the news. EA and FIFA officially end their partnership in relation to what we talked about briefly last week. FIFA will now be called, wait for it, EA Sports FC. Yes! Doesn't that sound great?
Oh, rules off the top.
Yeah,
Everyone will still call it FIFA.
I like it.
Yeah. It's so true. And even FIFA said we're going to come out with our own game now called FIFA. And it'll be the best, they said.
Imagine if FIFA like go to like Konami and go, "Hey, you guys make a football game."
Barely.
Could you imagine?
No, they need to just give the FIFA franchise to Mario so Nintendo can make it. It'd be cool. Mario in a lead stop.
Proper Mario football game.
So moving on, like a vagina, 3D modelled for the very first time, fans have shared their confusion at Madonna's newly unveiled 3D model of, yes, her vagina, which features a fully nude collection of non-fungible tokens. I just don't know where to go with this. The pop singer partnered with an artist called Beeple to produce a trio of NFT videos. And basically it's a model of a woman who doesn't actually particularly look like Madonna. It has blonde hair, but facially it doesn't look like anything like her. But yes, she's sat in the... Well, yeah, this is true. And if you haven't seen it, she sat lying down as if she's about to give birth, and the camera panned, and yes, you get a great view of this modelled vagina, and then the tree comes growing out of it, and other stuff, all about creation and technology and all this kind of rubbish. It's very weird, very creepy. And I guess if anything comes out the other end, that'll be her latest project as well. Wow. But yeah, have you guys seen it?
I have deliberately avoided looking at it. I've seen the news story.
This is the first time I've heard of it, and I'm kind of out already. I'm out.
You keep it that way. It's much worth it.
Yeah, I mean, it's anything
Otherwise
to do with
you'll have
NFTs.
to,
I'm out in general, but the last thing I want to see is her. Quite frankly,
Madonna with a
things
fucking Yggdrasil coming out of her vagina. No, thank you.
Is this where the Erd tree comes from?
Yeah, definitely. Jesus Christ, disgusting.
Do you think it's actually hers, or she's used a fanny model?
No, she'll have used a fanny model. She won't have had any connection to it other than putting her name to it and waiting to receive a check.
There's a thing called a fanny model, as if that's a fucking job.
I think she is mad enough to have done that. I actually think she's actually modelled it on herself. It wouldn't surprise me.
I don't think anybody needs to see that. The 60s now, isn't
Yeah,
probably late 60s by now.
Her vagina's probably fucking haunted by this point.
She's not late 60s.
Surely.
63.
63?
Yeah.
I stand corrected.
Born in 1958.
I mean, even so.
Next!
Probably looks like a dropped lasagna. Bethesda's highly anticipated Starfield has been delayed from this year and will now launch into the first half of 2023, which everybody knew was happening.
There's a guy on this show that called it on the show.
On the show,
said the
and
date.
everyone's like, no, it'll come out. It'll come out. Nah.
I truly thought it was going to come out on the day that they said, purely because they put it in the trailer. That is as final can get, I think. But it's worrying for Xbox, isn't it? Because now they don't really have anything coming out this year of note.
Nothing's got anything coming
for
out.
Redfall. What was Redfall? I don't actually know anything about that.
It was like the vampire thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was from Arcane. So, but there was only like one trailer reveal. It was like a 5-minute kind of cutscene kind of trailer. No gameplay revealed of it yet. So, like, I never expected Redfall to come out this year, even though they said it would. I was more, but even then, like Starfield, we haven't really seen any gameplay of Starfield. We've just seen concept art and cutscene stuff. So,
well, I would have assumed the showcase that they're doing in June would have been like the big reveal, but possibly not then.
We all know what Starfield's going to look like. You're going to wake up. It's going to be like, wake up, pilot, and you're going to be on a little space wagon, rolling down the hill, asking which province you're from, and then a dragon's going to attack. That's exactly what's going to happen.
It's just Skyrim reskinned, but with spacemen.
Yeah, it probably will be.
That's all
just
it
another
is.
way they could get Skyrim out there.
Yeah, and when you jump a little bit higher.
I'm interested to see what the Xbox Showcase has in June, because I mean they've still got stuff like The Outer Worlds 2 and Avowed that need release dates. Grounded has been in beta for over a year now, but I guess that one doesn't count. Scorn as well. Scorn's been kind of like off the...
I don't want to play that. That's disgusting.
Oh, it looks absolutely gross. I can't wait to play it.
It's like the foreskin game, isn't it? Where everything's like got foreskins on it.
Yeah.
I'm not wrong.
No, you're not wrong at all. But yeah, so they don't really have many... And obviously Stalker 2 was delayed because of the thing, which we don't mind. They can take as long as they need with that.
Take time.
Yeah, so yeah, you're right, Candy. It does kind of leave them in a bit precarious position because there's no real kind of tentpole releases.
The thing is that, there's lots of people saying, we don't want another repeat of Cyberpunk, but Cyberpunk was delayed plenty and it still came out in that state. But yeah, I think if, Phil Spencer actually went to Bethesda the day before that this was announced, so obviously they had a chat about it, and I just wonder how he's feeling after they spent all that money for Bethesda's first, for their AAA titles, and it's kind of backfired a little bit. Like, this is not off to a great start for them.
I mean, on the flip side, Halo had the same problem, didn't it? It was delayed, and then eventually, maybe after somebody looked at it and the internet went all off about how it looks, and they've revisioned, and it's come out all right from what you guys said.
Yeah, you showed us the trailer and it looked awful.
People haven't stopped playing it, have they?
No, people have stopped playing it massively.
I know.
No one's playing Halo anymore because 343 dropped the ball on the multiplayer.
Exactly. Next.
Okay. Moving on. June have announced the for the sequel, or part 2, whatever you want to call it, and a few of the members of the cast joining them. We've got Florence Pugh and Austin Butler amongst some of the newcomers, and Christopher Walken as well.
Yeah,
looking forward to that.
Yes. Do you know as well? Do you know Christopher Walken? Remember, he was in that Fatboy Slim track.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the lyric is, "If you walk without rhythm, you won't attract the worm."
Yeah.
That's from June.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yep.
So it's kind of a cool little circle. It's all come together.
Weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited for it. So yeah, Christopher Walken's going to play the Emperor. Florence Pugh, she's clearly going to be Princess Irulan. And then Austin Butler's going to be he's going to be Fade.
Elvis.
This is my daughter, Princess Irulan.
It's about the spice melange.
I hit the spice of my ass.
I hit the spice of my ass.
You're almost in Mario.
I know. I can hear it slipping away then.
That's who could play Mario.
And a bit of Borat as well.
To me, Mario.
And for the people that were watching after the football yesterday, Sam Ryder did an incredible performance for the Eurovision. The best one in about 20 years, I think someone said.
30 years? Like 1991 was the last time we came anywhere that high. wasn't it?
What position did it
It said
come,
20
sorry?
years on the article, so
Oh, fair enough. Second. Samurai
think
came
it's
second.
I think it's been about
Yeah.
3
Who won?
years since we got any points at all.
Who won?
Ukraine.
Was it good, or was it like we
Samurai
were standing
sounds
with
great.
your points? No, I'm on about the Ukraine. Was it good, or we're all solidarity?
It was on the public vote which got them to win, so it was very much a solidarity vote. But
Good.
even then, it doesn't matter. It's still
No.
fair power to them.
So really, this Sam
Eurovision has
Ryder
never
guy,
mattered.
I'm
you
just saying.
should watch Spain's song, Hoodles.
Why?
That's also. That's also. Just watch Spain's
Is it
song.
sexy?
Yes.
Speaking of sexy,
tonight.
depending on your point of view, David Tennant and Catherine Tate are returning to Doctor Who. But I don't watch it, so I've no idea if that's good or bad.
I mean, their season together was really good. A lot of fun.
I thought we've got a new Doctor Who.
Well, no, it's next year's the 60th anniversary of Doctor Who, so they'll be doing like a
Oh, so it'll be a big special.
big special, Doctors crossing timelines, all that kind of
Yeah.
thing.
I think a lot of
Okay.
people see him as like one of, if not the best Doctor. So
Certainly,
The
outside
last
of
time
a lot
I
of
watched it,
Who's.
Doctor Who fans will be buzzing for it, I reckon.
Tom Baker,
Up for it.
every time.
The 50th anniversary special, which was the one where you had Matt Smith and David Tennant together, that was fucking brilliant. That was really good, that one, because the two of them just riffed off each other so well. So it'll be interesting to see what he does coming back with it.
I say I won't watch it, but happy for Doctor
no,
Who.
neither will I. Yay!
Something I'm mega excited about very quickly, Dead Space, the remaster, remake, whatever they're doing with it, just looks really cool, and that's out in January 2023, so we're looking forward
I'm
to
looking
that.
forward to
Hey,
that.
is it? Can't trust a game.
Don't start.
Well, yeah,
Don't-
yeah.
No.
But they seem confident,
It
they
won't
just
be out.
announced that, so I guess it will be.
I'm just waiting for
Resident
Dead
Evil-
Space
oh, sorry.
3. Dead Space 3 remake, please.
The Gadget and Stig can play it again.
I'm kind of hoping with the June Xbox thing that the Callisto project gets a release date, because I imagine if the both of them came out in January.
That looked more like Dead Space, didn't it?
Well, it was by the people who made Dead Space. It was by the people who were
Yeah.
part of Visceral Games. So imagine if the two of them came out in January together. That would be a mint month. That.
Oh,
yeah.
2 lots of that. Yes, please. Speaking of horror, Resident Evil TV trailer came out. Yeah, not sure how
Is it
that's
Resident
going to go
Evil?
down
Who
too well.
knows? I mean, I've been watching the Halo series, and it's a massive departure from the games, the lore, the canon.
It's still
Some
the
people
character,
kicking off
though.
about it. I'm actually quite enjoying it, and not really caring about it taking that kind of its own path. So, but when I see the Resident Evil trailer and them taking their own path with using the licenses and names and characters and models and enemies, it just looks like the films again, just shit.
Yeah, but the
Shit
thing is,
version of it.
I'm not slagging off Halo in any sense whatsoever, but Resident Evil's got a vast lore. I know Halo has, it's got books and stuff, but Resident Evil's, you could just pluck that out and make a show of it. Literally.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is like, I on one hand, I'm really enjoying a show that's doing its own thing. And on the other hand, I'm seeing this other show doing its own thing, but one just looks fucking awful. Whereas the other one's like, actually, I'm quite enjoying
It really does. It really does. As a concept, it looked bullshit.
About the point in the trailer where it came up with a text on screen saying "New Raccoon City," I was like, "Nope, fuck off, nope, not having it."
Why would you move in?
It got nuked.
Nuked.
Spoiler for a 20-odd-year-old game. The town got nuked. And see, it's just like, this isn't Akira. You can't just like put new on the front of it and be like, yeah, I'll do.
It's fucking stupid.
It's that kind of CGI shot of like the Umbrella facility in New Raccoon City, which is shaped like the Umbrella logo. And I'm betting there was someone in the production office going, mate, imagine if we did this. The fans will love it.
I wish they'd actually think about
One
that. I
of
wish
them.
they called it Neo Raccoon City.
The Resident Evil Akira crossover that we all wanted.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking shit.
And finally, moving on, the Snyder fans bought bots to rig the Oscar votes. Stiggy's got more in this one.
Are you surprised? Is anyone surprised by this?
No, of course not. They're fucking
the-
insane.
Army of the Dead won the fan favourite film, and the best cheer moment of the year was the Flash entering the Flash speed above things like Endgame or
Time Force.
No, it wasn't even Endgame. Was it? I thought that wasn't even the Spider-Man. Sorry,
Yeah, it
stuff
was
that happened in
above the moment.
Spider-Man. Yeah, so apparently that wasn't cheerworthy, but yeah, the Flash entering the Speed Force, or what, I don't know what it is.
Speed Force, Time Force, it's all the
Yeah.
same shite.
That wasn't that never even registered when I watched that film.
That wasn't even the most cheerworthy moment in the film.
No, it wasn't. So yeah, apparently the
Not even a good character.
25,000 or so extra votes just appeared right before the ceremony or so, something like that. And it turns out that lots of bots did the Twitter vote. But yeah, again, are you surprised? Really?
No,
Nope.
because they're mad.
No. Because they couldn't have Zack Snyder's Justice League wasn't eligible for fan favorite, so all of a sudden, they all go, oh, we'll support him and we'll vote for Land of the Army of the Dead instead.
It's crap.
It's a crap film, and if that wins the fan favorite, you know for a fact that they've just been out there in the
Got
droves
zombies
with
having
the bots.
babies on it.
Like, yeah, it's not a good film. So it was just quite funny. I just put it in there because I thought it was quite funny that they go to the lengths of buying all those bots just to try and get him a fake Oscar. This is not even a real one.
Fucking stupid. Is that the news?
That's it. And over to Oodles for our story of the day.
That's not story of the day at all. It's time for the Nexus. So I'm going to kick this off. Not a super long one, but I've been playing a massively multiplayer online role-playing game because I am a gamer now. I'm a gamer now. I've been playing Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn.
I bet you've been chugging G Fuel and eating Doritos while you've been doing it as well.
No. Peanuts. Is that allowed? Is that a gamer snack?
Yeah, they're
yeah.
all right for you.
Non-salted ones as well. I like them. I like the monkey ones, the monkey nuts. I like them ones. They're so good.
Pistachios.
Anyway. For anyone that doesn't know, it's a really old MMO. But it got I think it got nuked or destroyed. And then they came back.
The original version of it was dreadful by all accounts. Like loads of server issues, not interesting gameplay, terrible story, that kind of thing. And then it was in danger of dying, so Square Enix said, all right then. And they literally killed the game and came back a year later with The Realm Reborn. And it was good.
In the game, they dropped a meteor on the world, and inside the meteor was a dragon. And it just destroyed the world.
So just in case the meteor doesn't kill everyone, there's a dragon to finish them off.
I just hate when that happens.
It
It's
was
the worst.
fucking bad. They show you the cinematic at the beginning of the game, and it's like, oh wow! Imagine being there as a player. I bet you didn't see that though. I bet it was just a black screen, wasn't it? You'd be disconnected. But yeah, I've started playing that. I'm an archer / bard, and I'm now level 30 of my up to level 60 free trial. So you can say I've put quite a few hours into this. I don't know how many. I haven't checked. It's good. It's good. It's very clicky. I've plugged in my mouse to play it because I just and keyboard. I just think it's a little bit easier that way. I'm playing it on PS5, but it's just not good on a controller at all. There's too many buttons. You have to do some finger gymnastics just to play the fucking thing.
Yeah, I really struggled with that. I tried it about 3-4 years ago, and it didn't quite click.
Maybe that was before the meteor struck.
I think it must have been, because I think I would have remembered a meteor with a dragon in it coming out. I think,
Yeah.
but then I don't remember that being. I'm sure I would have read about it, but no. There was a time where I was actively looking for an MMO to play, and I ended up with ESO. But I gave Final Fantasy a good go. But yeah, it just didn't quite click. It was the fact that all your skills kind of just go off when they want.
Yes. They just pop. There's no real rhyme or reason. It's
just a countdown, isn't it? There's a cooldown and it just pops off again. So I just struggled a little bit with that.
You've got unlimited MP, but you just got to wait while the coolers. It's good. I've made friends on it. I've got actual human friends, and we talk and we go through dungeons and laugh and talk.
Have you joined a guild?
Yeah, I've joined a guild. Yeah,
Is it good enough for you to pay for it, though, once your free trial
I
finishes?
don't know yet. I've still got 30 more levels to decide. The main thing I want to talk about, though, imagine another game. Think Cowboy Bebop plus Real Steel divided by Gundam and a narrative-heavy RPG. And
So
you'll get
virginity,
the game.
then.
Absolutely. You'll get the game Wolfstride. Now, this game is fucking incredible. Let me read the synopsis for you. So, this is their own synopsis. Get wrecked in this immature, grown-up RPG about a trio of troublemakers stumbling their way through a giant mecha tournament, repair and upgrade the team's hand-me-down rigs, pick up odd jobs to pay the bills, and battle the best of the best, all while running from the regrettable choices of the past. Wolfstride is a role-playing game about 3 former partners in crime coming to a turning point in their lives when they inherit a junkyard mecha called Cowboy. They reunite to enter the planet's most elite mecha competition, the Ultimate Golden Guard Tournament. This game is fucking amazing. It's more... it reminds me of parts of Ace Attorney, with the chatter and not the objection bits, but the multiple choices in dialogue and stuff like that.
Massive transformer lawyers.
Basically, yeah. So the Real Steel aspect is you play as, what's his name? He's so cool. He looks incredible. Sorry, my Google thing just went off then. Shut up, Google. You cow. Yeah, you play as 3 characters. You've got Knife Leopard, jack of all trades. Like, he can do everything. You've Dominic Shade. He basically is like Spike from Cowboy Bebop. He's got a cig in his mouth and his suit on, skinny. And a dog called Duke. Actually Duke, not Duke. So I can say it like that because it's spelt the French way.
I ain't saying nothing.
Duke, and he's an anamorphic dog because in this world, there are humans and there are also animals as well. Do you know the anthropomorphic versions of them where they're like stood up on 2 legs and
So furry.
it's just a little bit like that. The best way to describe it to people is because the whole game's in black and white, and it's got such a cool like anime / Cowboy Bebop manga, as in the books, not the series or anything like that.
Sure.
Yeah, not the TV shows. So the best way to like show how it is for people to look at the actual YouTube trailer of it, because it's one of those things you take one look at it and you go, oh shit, I want to play that now. Because there are battles in it, but it's the robot against the robot, and it's not like a battle scene like on like Final Fantasy or Pokemon or anything like that. It's more, look at that. Look at it. Look at that.
Nice.
Get ready till you see the characters. It's all hand-drawn and stuff, and rather than like, you just tell the mechs what to do, you don't control the mechs or anything like that. And then, obviously, that's Duke. That's your boy, Knife Pineapples. And that's the boy. There's Shade. Look at him. It's so fucking good. You can walk around the world. You can do, like, Yakuza-style side quests, side missions and stuff like that. And it's just so fucking badass. I got it on the Switch for £11. It's only just come out on Switch, but it's been on the Steam store for a while now. I think it's mostly positive by the looks of things.
Mostly and very positive.
Yeah. $11.99. That's what I paid on Switch as well. So there's no Switch tax on it. It's just so fucking good, guys. It's super good. I know you guys might not be into that kind of thing, but if you like narrative-heavy games where choices mean things and just cool and slick, it's got Akira vibes to it in the city that's like built up over another city, a bit like Raccoon City 2. It's just really slick. The soundtrack's incredible. The soundtrack's available on Spotify as well, and it's super cool. It's got like jazz-infused rock and stuff like that. It's just so fucking badass. Slick, stylish. I love it. I don't think it's too long either. I think it's about 10 hours long, which is perfect, isn't it? So pick it up. Next, we will move on to Biggie.
Yeah, so this week I went for my third rewatch of The Wire. Just love that show so much.
Watch
Just
something
fall in love
else.
with it all over again. It's so good. So yeah, I've been watching that. But
Have you
really,
seen
the
the
only
news?
other thing.
There's a new
Sorry, go
show
on.
coming up. There's a new show coming out by the same people who did The Wire. It's meant to be really good.
Oh, is there?
Yes, it stars John Bernthal.
Ooh.
We Own This Town, I think it's called.
Oh, cool.
We Own This
I'll be
City.
checking that out then.
Yeah,
Oh, they should have called it The Plug.
yeah. We Own This City, set in its Baltimore Police Department. Gun trace task force attempts to fulfill its duty while navigating through the city's corruption. By the same
Sounds
people who did
good.
The Wire. Yeah, it's definitely one I
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
check out.
Yeah. But yeah, the only other thing I've been doing is I had a quick bash on Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga. If you like Star Wars, you're going to love this game, basically. It's by I was going to say Telltale.
It's Traveller's Tales, isn't it?
Traveller's Tales.
Traveller's
TT
Tales.
Games.
Telltale's the other ones, isn't it? Yeah. TC Games, sorry. And yeah, it was delayed for a while, and then finally released. And
It's delayed for
looks
fucking
lush.
ages.
Looks really, really good. Production on it is fantastic. The only thing I don't like straight off the bat is you can choose out of the New Hope, or you can go and do the Phantom Menace. They're sort of the main two choices that you can start with. So I thought I'd just start with Phantom Menace. And you go
Is
in
it your favourite?
and no, I just want to start from in a row. Like follow it.
You've
as
said it on the show. It
chronological.
is your favourite show. Your
No, I
favourite
did not.
film.
Never have.
You did.
Lies. But you start off as Qui-Gon Jinn, and his hair is really shiny. I don't understand why.
Because he's made of plastic.
It's called conditioner, man.
No, but overly shiny as opposed
Because he's
to...
made of plastic. Have you seen Lego hair? It's shiny plastic.
Just trust me, it looks too
You ever
much.
stroked the hair of a Lego man?
That's what they do in these like. This is what
It
they do
is
in these
just
Legos
too
games.
much.
Though, they overdo things to take the piss, don't they? Like, I've seen some of the jokes that have come from the cutscenes in this Lego thing, and some of it sounds great, especially when you're walking around.
Don't they have the
Yeah,
running?
it
I've
is.
seen that. I've seen it on TikTok where they have the running joke words. You know, in A New Hope, when that stormtrooper bangs his head on that thing. In every single
Yeah.
level, there's a stormtrooper that bangs his head on the fucking thing. I'm into that. Somewhere in the background, you might even miss it, but I'm banging to that.
There's a great sound where there's a scene where Qui-Gon Jinn jumps on Jar Jar Binks to save his life, as it does in the movie. But as the ground traveller machine, whatever it is, goes over his head, it clonks his head, and as it does, it goes dong dong da dong dong da dong, and keeps hitting his head, which is quite funny. But yeah, the jokes are silly, but you just end up just smiling your way through the game. You know, the combat's pretty cool. The sound effects are all there.
Doesn't
For the
it
Star
have
Wars
for the more
movies.
of an all over the shoulder gameplay to it now with the shooting and stuff?
It does. Yeah, it does. I mean, you can, again, I've only done the first level of this one, but you can throw your lightsaber, so you have to target it first, then chuck the lightsaber.
Yeah.
There's lots of different moves, but it just looks so good from that point of view. The sound effects are great. It is Lego. If you play the Lego games before, you know exactly what you're getting with this. You can build little things to solve certain puzzles to get through the area. They're not brain-numbing puzzles. They're very easy. It's designed for you just to enjoy. And then I guess once you finish the main part of the game, then you get all that free play stuff where you can bring in other characters to go to areas you couldn't before.
Yeah,
There's
the
that
open
sort of
world levels.
Yeah,
Have you not
replayability of
invited
the
your
game.
wife to play along with you?
Hell no. I want to enjoy the game. Yeah, it's if you like that kind of thing, it's the same as Marvel superheroes, DC stuff. It's all very similar style gameplay, but the production is a massive step up, I have to say. But yeah, really cool. I do recommend it. So
Into
far,
it, brilliant, excellent. Thank you very
that's
much,
me.
Candy.
I saw an absolute banger of a film this week. Actually, before I say that, I
Jealous.
started
Very
because
jealous.
thanks to Biggie, I started playing Fallout 3 again. Reignited my love for Fallout.
Yeah,
Already been to Megaton, been fucked over by that guy at the bar. Been great. But anyway, the main thing, I went to see Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. I'm so glad I got that title right. I was worried. But the title really it's an accurate description of what the film is,
But
basically.
what is it?
Yeah, well, I'm still wondering myself. So it's written by Dan Kwan and Daniel Schinert. Sorry if I got that wrong. The Daniels, exactly. So they're the writers responsible for Swiss Army Man, which we also mentioned a couple of weeks ago, I think. So it stars Michelle Yeoh, known for Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Jamie Lee Curtis, needs no introduction really, Ke Huy Quan, who played Short Round in Indiana Jones, and James Hong, who's been acting since the 50s. He's back, baby.
He's back, baby.
But yeah,
back from the Temple of Doom.
So he's more recent. This is going back to James Hong. He's more recently been in Turning Red, Kung Fu Panda, R.I.P.D. and Big Trouble in Little China, most importantly.
Great film, that R.I.P.D.
It's worth noting, actually, that this is Ke Huy Quan's first acting role since his roles in The Goonies and Indiana Jones and as a kid. He left acting.
Does he still... Does he... what was that thing he did? Oh, no, I'm thinking of someone else. Ignore me!
So
it was going to be funny, but it's not him.
You should have said it. It would have been more funny.
No.
He left acting due to there just not being enough opportunities for Asian actors at the time, and it's just such an amazing comeback for him. You'd never know that he hadn't acted in the 30-odd years. I will say, though, his voice is exactly the same as you remember it from Indiana Jones.
What, like a small child?
It's literally like a small child. I was taken aback.
An interview with him, and it's just like, you can just tell that's him.
I double,
even though he's like 50
check.
now. Yeah. Yeah, he's worked in the industry. He's stayed in the industry, done a lot of stuff behind the scenes as stunt coordinator.
Still got a trench coat on with a
stuff.
boxing glove underneath it.
Yeah, he keeps it on him all times.
Keeps it on. Just in case.
So the story of everything revolves around a Chinese family. They own a laundromat, and they live above it. So and they're currently being audited by the IRS. Michelle Yeoh plays Evelyn Kwan, and she's the main character, and she's actually quite sort of a flawed woman herself. She's the head of the family. They're in the marriage is sort of in the middle of a breakdown, struggling to connect with their daughter, and also struggling to deal with the arrival of her father, who's there for Chinese New Year, and he's somewhat kind of disapproving of her life choices. And of course, they're being audited. So the IRS, which I should mention, it's the American version of HMRC, if you don't know. So sometimes they'll randomly audit a company, but usually it's because the tax returns don't add up or there's seemingly something suspicious. So they're under a super stressful situation. And I don't know if that turns it into a horror movie for some. That certainly sent chills up my spine. But Jamie Lee Curtis...
I've actually had that done to me. That's a separate story.
No, thank you. Oh, I dread that. But anyway, Jamie Lee Curtis, absolutely amazing as always. So she plays the IRS officer that's dealing with Kwan's case. And it's on the way to this meeting with her character that a multiversal element kicks in. And I'd like to say, and then chaos ensues, but this is about 15 levels more chaotic than that. Like I said before, Everything Everywhere All at Once is literally the perfect title for this film. I wouldn't even know how to describe or to plate it into a genre, because it's equal parts kind of kung fu, sci-fi, and also a family drama. And it's just such an original, it's such an original concept and story. The way they tackle the multiverse story from the get-go is fun, especially how they have to get from A to B. But behind all that, it's like no emotion is left unturned. It's hilariously funny at 1 minute, and then the next scene it will be like super moving, especially in like the relationship between Evelyn and her daughter. The choreography and the fight scenes as well. Yes, there's fight scenes too. It's just immense, and actually, it reminds me of some of the Jackie Chan movies where they actually get the props involved and just kick up chairs and throw them and all sorts.
Michelle Yeoh's been doing it for years. She's awesome,
Crouching Tiger and everything.
Still doing it. Even before that, she worked with Jackie Chan before. She's really good.
Even now, she does not miss a beat. That you would never know that she's what you. Well, I mean, she's not an old actress, but by Hollywood standards, she's just absolutely incredible. Even Jamie Lee Curtis gets stuck into the fighting as well, which is
Wow.
Interesting to see, but cool. She doesn't hold back either.
Taken down Michael Myers multiple times.
That's true. Yeah, that is true. That's a different style of fighting.
Has she though? Has she though? Ooh.
That's more long distance running over the amount of films that she's done. Surely.
Yeah. She was badass in True Lies. Apart from when
we know she's got good cardio.
And she falls over.
But yeah, no. Oh god. So I mentioned props being used. There's one scene in particular where a certain prop is used. It was actually sort of mentioned. It was focused on at the beginning of the film. I won't say what it is because, yikes. But if you go and see it, you'll know what scene it is.
Is it a dildo?
I'm not saying. No.
It's a dildo, guys.
Not a dildo. But I've seen reviews say it's kind of like a scene from Jackass, and I can see why that comparison is made. Put it that way. Actually, now I come to mention it, it's one of the few films I've seen where people have actually walked out. There was a couple that left actually maybe 10 minutes before that particular scene, and thank God they did, really. I'm not really sure what kind of film they were expecting, but evidently this was not it. I have seen it compared to The Matrix, so I can't actually see that comparison myself, but maybe that's what they went in thinking they were going to get, and it was really not that at all.
That's their inspiration. Matrix, The Fight Club. Yeah, they said that they were just watching late 90s films that they loved and came up with an idea. It's kind of based on The Matrix. I think it comes from the point of where she's told to choose a path, go that way, and you'll just carry on, go that way, and in the setup. So that's kind of apparently where it comes from. I know very little. Obviously, I've not seen it yet, but it's just from the interviews and other podcasts I've listened.
There's nothing wrong with it though if they do it right, is there?
Oh, absolutely not. No, but I just think if maybe too much focus has been put on it being the next Matrix or something, maybe that's the reason why these people didn't get the film they were expecting. So, don't go in there thinking it's the next Matrix. It's certainly nothing like Doctor Strange either, even though obviously it still deals with the multiversal stuff.
Does it handle the multiverse better than Doctor Strange?
I think you would think so, yeah.
Good.
It's such a, you can't even compare the two, really. It's chalk and cheese. You can't compare it at all. So other than that, my only criticism really, I've noticed this has been a gripe of mine quite a lot recently, so I don't know if this is actually a me problem, but I think it was probably a little bit long. It could have been shorter towards the end. There's one scene that outstayed its welcome by about 10 minutes, I think. But yeah, really loved it. Evidently, it's not for everyone, but I'd say just go in with an open mind and no preconceived ideas of what you think it is. It's actually a really heartwarming story once you get past the multiverse and the kung fu and the googly eyes. There's lots of googly eyes.
Sausage fingers.
Yeah, I wasn't going to mention
sausage
that.
Fingers.
Sausage fingers.
That's in the posters. Don't worry about that.
Oh, is it? Okay, yes.
That's what I used to call my uncle.
Uncle Sausage Fingers will enjoy it.
I am desperate to see this film, and I based purely on word of mouth and what everyone I know said about it from other podcasts, from people I know that are friends who love going to the cinema and stuff. It's already in IMDb's top 250. It's the highest ranked film on Letterboxd of all time.
It's got 98% on Rotten Tomatoes as well. It's crazy.
I'm going to make time this next week to see it. I need to see
I was the same as you. I just went in purely on word of mouth, but it's on limited release at the moment. So from what I've heard, they are actually going to be releasing it a bit in more and more theatres as the time goes on, but I'm not really sure exactly this, because we were lucky actually. It was just by pure chance I saw that it was on. I was just checking what was on this week, and they had one showing on Tuesday night, so we went to see it, and actually we almost didn't get to see it then, because this is the first time this has ever happened when I went to a cinema. We sat down, and one of the members of staff kind of shuffled in looking a bit suspicious, and said that they'd somehow managed...
doing cinemas.
Shuffling, suspicious looking. But they somehow managed to break the film. And so we had to wait an extra 90 minutes, so it didn't actually start till about 9. So.
90 minutes?
Yep.
No wonder you thought it was long.
I'd have fucking gone home.
That was an option, but we couldn't be asked. We got free snacks out of it, though.
90 minutes?
Free snacks and
snacks,
drinks. Anyway, the point is...
Free snacks, no problem.
the point is, it didn't start till about 9 o'clock, so we were already pretty frazzled. Like, we were already on a bit of a sugar crash at that
I thought
point.
you were come down because you've been popping ecstasy before the show, and it's
Not
kicked in
this
early.
time. No, that doesn't go well with the cinema. I prefer to disco on that. But yeah, if I can watch it at 9 o'clock at night on a sugar crash and still really, really enjoy it, you probably will too.
Yeah.
So yeah, go see it if you can.
Excellent. Stick.
So this week I have been listening to a new album. So I've been listening to Charlie Simpson's new album, Hope is a Drug. I was meant to go see him live this week. Unfortunately, he had to cancel due to personal reasons. No, that's all we've heard, really, so I haven't really looked into it.
Let him have his privacy.
Yeah, exactly. He's had to cancel, so hopefully it's nothing too serious. But yeah, this is his fourth studio album. It's follow-up to his 2016 album, Little Hands, and the last few of his albums have been kind of a mixture of acoustic and folk style tracks. This one is more of a mixture of acoustic and, in some songs, synth pop. So the majority of this was kind of produced in his home studio, which he built from scratch during lockdown. And I think that's why this feels like his most personal album to date. I think being in lockdown probably gave him a lot of time to reflect on things. The songs and the lyrics are really confessional. They're really personal, digging deep into old relationships.
I'm lonely.
No, not right. More about
Lockdown.
no, not that. More just digging deep into his old relationships, growing up in a single parent home. The album closes with a song called Sliding Doors, which he kind of expresses his gratitude at all the tiny quirks of fate, and the sliding doors moment. If I'd have done this, and this wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
All that. Obviously, if you know who Charlie Simpson is, he was originally came to fame through Busted, and he left that to go to start Fight Star, and then this is his solo stuff. It's a lot.
Now I know who he is.
Yeah. So yeah, that song kind of, you can tell it's singing about the decision to leave one of the biggest boy bands in the country at the time to go and start up a rock band.
Well, they're really big, Busted, then.
Yeah, they were massive.
Massive.
Wow.
Absolutely huge. Yeah. And, like, he
Similar
left
decision
during
to me joining this podcast.
he left during their height of popularity,
Really?
like to fight, because he's always been a rocker and metalhead at heart, and he's just like, I want to do this. My passion is this, and that's where he decided to start Fight Star and do that. And then he's obviously
what
been
genre
doing
were Busted? Much more like pop, wasn't it?
Buster's pop, like pure pop, yeah.
Like easy listening stuff.
Yeah, so he's been around the block on different like genres for sure. But this is really easy listening stuff. It's like, say, it's all acoustic-y, and
There's no wrong with that.
With this album, he's exploring like new sonic sounds with the vocoded vocals, like alt pop synths, and then a lot of stripped back piano compositions. Like the majority of this album is probably just him with a piano or a guitar. But I really love his vocal style. He's got this real kind of like gruff, raw sound to his vocals, and when you kind of strip that all back with just him and a piano, I think it just sounds great. And like, it's a really personal and really moving album. I really enjoy it. I've been listening to it a fair bit. It's just a shame that we didn't get to go see him, but things happen.
You get a refund.
Got a refund, yeah. Originally it got cancelled and postponed because of the pandemic, and then a week before that happened, he just said, unfortunately, he's had to pull out of his tour due to personal reasons.
It happens, mate.
That kind of reminded me. I got that email, and I had a little look on Spotify. I was like, his new album must be out by now if he's doing a tour. And sure enough, yeah, it came out at the end of April. So yeah, I've just been listening to that this week.
Sound?
It's very good. If you like acoustic things, some folky stuff in his old albums, it's really easy listening. Yeah, I really enjoy it. I really like his stuff.
Sounds a bit like Ben Howard, actually.
Is that the one that
Don't know who he is.
talked about?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Like, if you like that, Vicky, I'd give him a go. See what you think.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
Is that you then, Stig?
That's me.
Perfect. Gadget?
Yeah, I have. Well, this week I started watching The Expanse finally. About 4 episodes in the first season. Really good. Really enjoying it. Apart from the fact
I
I'm
can't
not
believe
sure.
you've left it this long.
Not sure I like the lad that the cast is holding, though. I kind of pictured him much older in my head when I was reading the books.
You get used to him. Funnily enough, as the seasons go on, he gets older.
Shocking that.
Shocking.
Someone
Gets older over time.
No, but he does genuinely grow into the character.
Funny enough,
Alright.
I started the final season of The Expanse this week. But I've watched one episode, so I didn't see the point in talking about it.
Yeah.
Good.
But the main thing I've been doing this week, I have been playing Trek to Yomi, which came out on Game Pass this week.
Done that too.
You've done that too. This is a game made by I've lost who made it. Flying Wild Hog, who made the what did they make? Those? I want to say Shadowrun, but that's not it. Shadow Warrior, the recent versions of Shadow Warrior.
It's good that.
Out.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, the Shadow Warrior 1 and 2, they're good then.
Yeah, I haven't played Shadow Warrior 3 yet, though. That's supposed to be pretty good as well.
Oh, I didn't know there was a 3.
Yeah, it came out about a month ago.
Fuck. Oh, good then. They're good games now. They're just daft shooters because you don't have to be good at shooting to play them.
Yeah.
And believe me, I'm not.
Yeah, you might get a shock with the third one then. So Trek to Yomi is it's a side-scrolling kind of samurai combat game, heavily influenced by old samurai films, especially like the kind of the Kurosawa style of films. It's entirely presented in black and white, or kind of grayscale, very cinematic, and very short. In the game, you play a samurai called Hiroku, yeah, who is the samurai for the village that he lives in, which is beset on in the traditional Japanese film kind of standard, is set upon by bandits who kill everyone, and he has to go on a nice little revenge story. Unlike the classic samurai films, however, Yomi is the Japanese concept of an afterlife. This gets a little bit Dante's Inferno.
Ooh,
As you
the 9 circles of hell.
Well, sort of. You have to go. The title Trek to Yomi is not a spoiler. You have a Trek to Yomi. You die.
Damn it.
That is literally the point I've got up to.
Yeah. So yeah, you have to venture into Yomi to do things to get your revenge, and it gets a little bit spooky and supernatural. And it's an absolutely beautiful game. And I'll say it up front, it's one of the best looking games. Like when you look at screenshots of it, the screenshots look beautiful, but when you see it in motion, like every shot is very cinematically placed. So when you're in combat, it's always side on, left to right. There's no jump in or kind of lateral movement. When you're not in combat, it tends to be a little bit like that Resident Evil fixed camera angle kind of exploring of the environment. Basically, you know when you're hitting combat because it goes side on and he pulls his sword out. The game looks amazing in motion. I put this down as maybe a 6 or a 7 out of 10 based on the fact that I think they've put so much time and effort into how it looks. They've kind of neglected a little bit of the gameplay. I found it quite simplistic. Like the only boss I struggled with was the very last boss. I kind of breezed my way through it, and I did it in 2 sessions. It took me about 5 hours to get through, which apparently is about the average for getting through the game. But yeah, the combat is just kind of like you run up to guys, you press X a couple of times and kill them, move on to the next one. And as is tradition in samurai films, the guys come at you one by one. You never get ganked.
That's because of respect.
You can have 10 enemies on the screen at once, but they will, in order, come at you from both directions. To the point where you actually can't disengage from the one that's engaged with you and fight a different one. Like, they will just keep backing away from you. You have to basically fight the one that's coming at you, which I thought was a little bit weird. Because of the visual presentation, there are a few little weird quirks. There are some combat sequences where the camera is so far zoomed out for this epic cinematic shot, it's fucking impossible to see what you're doing. Like, like the combat encounters I struggle with.
You've got
the
a
most
super wide monitor as well.
I was playing it on the Xbox, but I was some of the combat encounters I struggled with most were because the cameraman was 15 miles away. Like honestly, it was so far away, and because it's
I like
all
the
in
idea
black
of a
and white,
cameraman behind the game.
Yeah,
I want that game.
because it's all in black and white and grayscale. Like you can have an area where because your character is usually one of the darkest things on screen. You can have an area where you literally can't see where he is. That you have to until you kind of wiggle him and move him out of the way, which is fine in exploration, but when you're in combat, that gets you killed a lot. To kind of counter that, the game is really generous with stuff like checkpoints. Like usually you'll get a combat sequence and then there'll be a checkpoint right after it, which really does the bonfire-y thing and fills up your health. So it's kind of not really that much of an issue. I managed to abuse my way through all the bosses in the game until the last one. Like some of the bosses are so easy to cheese, it's unreal. You're kind of front-loaded with some very powerful abilities quite early on. The last boss, however, felt to me like I was doing like a proper samurai duel. Like I really enjoyed the last boss. Other bosses in it, I wasn't so bothered with. I think this game would have been a 10 out of 10 if they had a bit more of the Sekiro-style combat to it, where you had to master parries.
Yes.
Or if you had a Makiri counter or stuff like that when you're fighting pikemen and stuff like that. There was one of the weird graphical issue that I found. I was talking to Debbie Punk about it, actually. He spotted this one as well. Because the game's in black and white, it's also entirely in Japanese, so it's subtitled. They have white subtitles without a border on them. So if you're in a bright scene, you can't see what's going on in the story. Which happens more than most. There are so many lines of dialogue. I had no fucking clue what was going on.
There's no accessibility options.
No, because it's
2022.
Yeah, it's a really low budget indie game, but visual, like you say, if you can put those things aside, it's stunning, and it's on Game Pass as well. So it's a good way to spend a Saturday afternoon. Like I'm not saying it's a bad game or anything like that. Like I have quite a few criticisms of it for different things, but I still played it through to the end. Like after I did my first kind of hour or so of it, I thought, am I going to finish this or am I just going to play something else? But no, I went through and I played it through to the end, and I actually, by the end of it, there were a couple of bits I was like, I fucking hate this game. But then I got to the ending cutscene, I was like, actually, on balance, I really enjoyed this game. So if you've got Game Pass,
it's the second game you've beat in the past 5 years as well.
Fuck you. And your chicken strips.
I agree with you, Gadget, from what I've played so far. Like visually, and the sound and everything looks stunning. There's bits where you kind of walk across a bridge and you're going for a combat, and the time the lightning strikes behind you, like perfectly.
Yeah, that
so
shit's amazing.
you're coming down, like fighting
with
that. Everything like that looks so good. And I've taken a load of screenshots as I've been playing it.
Yes, same here.
Yeah, the combat is very repetitive. Once you find a combat system, like combo that works for you, you just
spam
use
it.
that. I just use that one. You know where you can where they come behind you and you just press back and X and you turn around and
you swing around.
Easy one kill. And you just wait for them to come to you, turn around and do it.
There are some enemies a little bit beyond where you are where that is not a valid use of your time.
Yeah, but it's one that it's taken. I've played a couple of hours and that's one I've been spamming.
You're halfway
I just
through it,
kind
by
of
the
do
sounds
that
of things.
up XX, like slicing up and stuff. There's a few like when you can kind of knock them, can't you, and then do like a kill button, which like knocks them to the ground, and chop their heads off and stuff, which is fun. Some
of the stuff when you get into Yomi is actually really kind of beautiful. Like I mean, not just like the locations, but like kind of the way the world is designed and like the kind of this representation of the afterlife. It's why it reminds me of kind of the Divine Comedy, and kind of like it's this kind of strange otherworldly place. Because I didn't expect it to do that, because there was part of me thinking, is this going to do the Sekiro thing and get a bit supernatural? No, I can't do that. It's gone Kurosawa style. No, it goes supernatural. But in a good way, actually, in a way that I quite enjoyed. So yeah, especially if you've got Game Pass, it is worth your time to investigate. You might not like it, you might. I think also some of my criticisms are, especially around the combat, is kind of amplified by the fact that I've just come off Elden Ring. That might have something to do with it.
Yeah, there is that.
It's like when I went from Bloodborne to The Witcher 3 and hated The Witcher 3 for a long time.
You did it in the wrong order.
Did it in the wrong order, yeah. But play Trek to Yomi. It's really good.
I will when it comes out on a console I own. Excellent.
It'll probably run on your laptop, to be fair.
Yeah, I was looking at that, and it looks like it will. So I might just plug in the old my new Pro controller that I've got, because that works on the laptop. So I might do that. I'll just stick in the Xbox controller that I've got. Who knows? Who knows? So much room for fun. Let's move on to the main topic.
Activities is the word you're looking for.
fun activities.
So much room.
Yes, so we're talking this week about gaming when we were young. It's a gaming heavy episode. Mainly games that we couldn't quite either grasp the concept of or it was just too fucking hard. And maybe you went back to it as an adult and thought, I've got this now. Or maybe you've never gone back to it because you've gone completely scared off by it in the first place. Now, I want to go with Biggie first, seeing as though he is older than gaming as a medium. He remembers a time when balls on a stick were the most hardcore role-playing game alive. So I want to know what you've got there, big man.
This is probably quite one of the oldest games maybe in our list. So yeah, I've gone for Discworld.
Pretty
Based
fucking
on,
old.
of course, Terry Pratchett's books.
What a fucker of a game that was.
So, for those that don't know, it is a point-and-click adventure game. It was developed by companies who I don't think are around anymore, Teeny Weeny Games and Perfect 10 Productions. And published by Psygnosis. And it was released in 95 for MS-DOS, Mac, and Sony PlayStation, which is what I played it on. Eventually went as a version for the Sega Saturn, released a year later. Basically, you assume the role of the wizard of the game, which was Rincewind, and was fantastically voiced by Eric Idle.
I still have nightmares of Eric Idle saying, that doesn't work.
Yeah, that doesn't work.
There's more of that later. As he becomes involved in exploring Discworld for the means to prevent a dragon that was terrorizing the city of Ankh-Morpork. The game borrowed many elements from the books, but it was generally based loosely on the Guards book. There was a secret brotherhood that summoned this dragon, and you have to go on a rampage to try and find out what's going on. As mentioned, Idle was cast as Rincewind, and it was tweaked a little bit more to make him sound like the Idle that we know from Monty Python. The other actors included Tony Robinson, Kate Robbins, who basically voiced every female character, Rob Brydon, John Pertwee. Allegedly, as always, Death makes an appearance. They wanted to get Christopher Lee in, but they couldn't afford him. So
I
Rob
can imagine
Brydon
he's
did
got a
Death.
hefty price tag on him.
And the guy that also developed it, Barnett, initially wanted Rowan Atkinson. He thought he'd make a good Death. But as it was in these games, it was a third-person point-and-click, so it was a lot of walking around the location, searching for items that you could pick up, and then just working out what on earth you do with them. And if you played the games like Monkey Island, I don't know, any of the, well, basically any of the
Tentacle.
Manic Mansions, Day of the Tentacle,
Grim
any of
Fandango.
those. Then you probably have an idea of what this game was like. But the biggest problem with this game was that the puzzles were insane.
Yeah, didn't you know you have to
Absolutely.
mix a brick with a sword, and that creates milk? Come on.
That's what it was like.
Oh, I know, I remember.
And the only thing that saved this game, the only reason why I enjoyed playing it was because the humour was really funny. It was,
Yeah, it was.
very similar to the books. So there was a reason why I tried to play it as much as I could, but I never finished it. This is a quote from Will Porter, who did a sort of a retro review of it for Eurogamer, and he said, "Discworld commits every point-and-click crime you care to mention. Tiny, almost invisible hotspots, events triggered through dialogue you might not ask, and the most obtuse puzzles yet created. One of them was to catch a butterfly. I have to put a frog in past Rincewind's mouth so that it isn't scared away by the snoring. So there's this time travel element to the game as well. That doesn't work. That doesn't work. That doesn't work. And as I said, butterfly, when placed in past next to a lamppost, will cause a miniature thunderstorm next to a mad monk in the future, causing him to take off his robe so you can steal it. It just, there's no logic to this puzzle. What on earth would make you think to even do that?
Yes, but there's
to
no
solve
logic
the
to the
puzzle.
Discworld itself. Like that thematically is a perfect Discworld puzzle because it's
But
so
as a
fucking
game,
insane.
it doesn't help.
No, gameplay wise, it's not fun to play.
I remember when I got this, and my older brother bought a strategy guide for it, and I would never have beat it without that strategy guide. Not a chance. It's cheating with a guide, but it had to be done.
He then went on to say, why, at the start of Act 2, have new puzzle-centric objects appeared in places I've visited before without knowing the game telling me? And what hints are offered to suggest that I need to put a tied-up octopus in a toilet, then mix a prune in with a fishmonger's caviar supply so I can steal his belt buckle from beneath the toilet door? I mean, I remember that puzzle because I got stuck on that for ages. And this was all pre-game FAQs. There were no guides, so very similar to something else that I'm going to mention is in the Patreon, is just that you have to wait months or weeks later to sort of find out what on earth you can do because no one knows. No one's figured this shit out. You have to wait for a guide to come out and tell you because you would never, ever come across that. You just wouldn't solve it. I'm sorry. I just don't believe anyone would work these things out. And yeah, to complete this game without a walkthrough is to see the face of God. And he finishes an insane and cruel God. And it was a great game. The production was fine. The sound was fantastic with all the voices. The music was great. Graphically, it ran a bit slow on the PlayStation 1 from what I remember, but it was forgivable because I enjoyed playing it until those puzzles. And unfortunately, it's probably one of the hardest games I've ever played and never finished.
Yeah, I used to think that like games like Discworld and stuff were obtuse, but not Discworld, sorry, Broken Sword were obtuse, but not as bad as Discworld. I think Discworld Noir was a lot better. Did you ever play that one?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, Discworld Noir held the player's hand a lot more.
Yeah, I think it was a lot better.
The first Discworld came out around about the time that there were a lot of those kind of point-and-click adventure games, which were deliberately produced out. Simon the Sorcerer was another one that was out around about the same time. That was fucking brutal.
It's because they made
almost a contender for my choice.
For it. That was their
made
version.
A lot of them very expensive to create, but a lot of them were like 5 to 6 hours long. So to make them last longer, it was these obtuse puzzles.
Oh yeah,
it was like it's weird, but yeah, like Broken Sword. It's not a long game, but only when you know.
Broken Sword was the one I was going to mention. That goat puzzle, man, I was stumped on that for weeks and weeks, and I had to wait for a magazine to come out, and they had a little box out saying how to solve the goat puzzle because no one could do it, and it was just a millimeter pixel on the screen that you had to get the timing right to get past that goat. Otherwise, you were stuck there forever. It was game breaking.
Fucking headbutting you, didn't it?
Yeah, very annoying. But that was the thing. The games were great. I finished Broken Sword in the end, but yeah, Discworld. I might even go.
So have you ever gone back to Discworld?
Emulate it. I can emulate it. I've got a version of it I can play. So
and you have access
because I own
to
the original
the
PlayStation 1 game.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've got it here. I can show you.
Show me.
Yeah.
Go on then, show me.
I'll dish it out while someone's talking. I'll show it to.
Yeah, we've got him. Police,
right
send him round. Someone go raid Biggie now.
I'll show you. You'll be surprised. But yeah, that's it. Discworld. Go check it out if you want to find out just how difficult fucking games were.
Excellent, thank you. Moving on to me. In 1998. Oh, I was only a wee boy then. The bane of my existence released. It was a puzzle racing video game developed by Art Dink, creators of classics such as Colony Wars and Tactics Ogre, which is one of my personal favourites. It released for the PlayStation. Does anyone know what it is?
Mm-mm.
A racing puzzle game.
Yeah, I'll explain a little bit more. So the user controls one of a certain thing, placing other certain things in rows that will successfully topple while avoiding obstacles and working under a time limit. Now, a lot of listeners will be like, I know what it is. It's No One Can Stop Mr. Domino. Can anyone remember this game?
No.
Never heard
You cannot remember No One Can Stop Mr. Domino. Wait when you see the photos of it. My God.
What the fuck is that?
Oh, Biggie does have Discworld. Sorry for doubting this. You never played Mr. Domino?
No, I mean I'm pulling up the
Nope.
screenshots of it. It looks like it looks like Micro Machines in places.
Yes, it
It's like
plays
a domino
like Micro
rally
Machines. It's a domino rally game in a weird sense. So, As I stated, the user controls one of 5 anthropomorphic dominoes, placing other dominoes in rows that will successfully topple while avoiding obstacles and working under a time limit. So you go round in a track. You don't control if he goes forward or not. It goes forward regardless. You control left and right, basically. And as you're going round and round and round, you have to place dominoes to land on squares on the ground to trigger certain events, like pocketing a snooker ball, or there you go, blowing up a microwave.
Why is there a bomb in a microwave?
Yeah.
Why not?
I got this game for Christmas. For one of the runs of where I just got terrible games for Christmas. The game includes 6 stages: a casino, a grocery store, a family home, a local park, an amusement park, and a city. Each stage is set up like a racetrack, as the character will return to the starting point each and every lap. The player can make as many laps as needed to clear a given stage. When the level is cleared, the player will proceed to the next stage. And once a stage starts, the character starts to run and will not stop running. To control the character's speed and direction, the player dictates movement with the D-pad. The characters that are not under the player's control will attempt to hinder the avatar's progress in ways such as throwing dice, turning on electrical wire, and making fruit appear out of nowhere, making the evasion of such obstacles a primary concern of the player. This game was the hardest fucking game ever, and it frustrated the shit out of me because it was quite fun. It was fun to play, but it got so hard. The first level I absolutely smashed. I completed that. I could do it multiple times. Do you know how... It's hard to explain what the gameplay is like. Remember, have you ever played Mario Party?
Yeah.
Mm.
Not the mini games, but do you know the actual board game part of Mario Party where you're constantly going in a loop?
Like a board game, yeah?
Like a board game, and you can set traps and stuff. That's what Mr. Domino's like, but it's constantly on like a running track. Oh, fucking hell, this game used to frustrate them. There'll be some listeners thinking, oh, yeah, I remember that. I believe it got famous because it was on one of the Demo 1 discs. Remember how popular they were? So, and again, I got it for Christmas, and it frustrated the shit out of me. I never could beat the 3rd level, which was the grocery store. It's the first game in my entire existence where I actively started crying because I couldn't beat it. Like in 1998, I was a very, very young boy. Well, I wasn't that young, but I like to pretend I was that young. I was crying, and I snapped one of my PlayStation controllers. Luckily, it wasn't my DualShock. It was just the flimsy little shitty one that you get with the PlayStation. And yeah, the game is... To this day, I don't know if you can... Obviously, you can emulate it, but I don't know if you can buy it on any other platform. I don't know if there's a sequel. I don't know anything about it, other than every time I see and hear or anything to do with the word domino, I instantly think about Mr. Domino. And
there's no sequel to it. It's just a one-off that was on the PlayStation.
Yeah, it's fucking batshit. And these are the guys that made Tactics Ogre, which is one of the best games ever made. It's just... This fucking game, man, it frustrates the shit out of me. If
you wanted to buy a copy to relive it, you could buy one on Amazon for $59.95.
No, I don't want to. Wow, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I'm sure it's available on some other means, but I just don't think I could do it because, believe it or not, I had a DualShock controller because I got the Resident Evil DualShock edition, and DualShock, the analog didn't work on Mr. Domino. It wasn't supported. You know, like a few games on the PlayStation weren't supported by the analog at all.
Yeah.
And this one, it would have been a lot better with an analog stick. I wonder if through emulation now I can force analog sticks to work on it.
Yeah, you probably can.
Maybe I should stream myself finally beating
I would quite like to see this. I also just kind of want to see like
You want to see me cry?
Your Vietnam moment, like when the opening music comes up and you like have a flashback.
I'd be fine on the first 2 zones, and then when the next zone, grocery store, loads up.
You'd just break down, won't you?
You weren't there, man. You could play multiplayer and stuff, and that was fun. And I always dominated. I always kicked my family's ass and stuff on it. It was quite. But you know, them sometimes you get them games in your family. Like we had it on SNES with Mario Kart and on PlayStation. Mr. Domino was the one that everyone used to just sit and play. So that's probably why it's lasted so much in my head, but. We couldn't. Oh, and there was Bust a Move. Remember that Bubble Bobble thing, that Bust a Move one? We played that all together, and Mr. Domino. I've had nightmares about him like leering over me in my bed. This big 6-foot domino. wanting to
So
kiss
is it fair
me.
to say when you want a pizza, you order a Pizza Hut?
I don't get Domino's anyway. Have you seen how expensive it is? So I've got Domino's money. Not a chance. But yeah, Mr. Domino, that's my one. And I'm sure that there must be at least one listener that's listened to this and thought, fuck, Mr. Domino. And they haven't thought about that in years. So hopefully I'm bringing that back for you. But fuck, don't play it. It's awful. Never beat it. And I'll do a stream of it one day. Candy?
Oh. So I tried to think a little bit outside the box on this one, and as you suggested, it could be a game that we just didn't get the concept of, and we were put off that way, or just didn't grasp mechanics.
I also didn't get the concept for Mr. Domino.
Why does this exist? To torment you, probably. That's like sole reason for living. So I grew up with the original Game Boy and the Sega Mega Drive, or the Genesis.
You're one of them families.
One of them families. And I think in that stage of the sort of still emerging game industry, not that many games were really very left field in terms of concepts. I think gaming was still predominantly sort of aimed at children, wasn't it? And most certainly
Most games were arcadey as well, weren't they?
Yeah, and certainly console games. Sorry, I'm sure that it was probably a bit different on the PC, but certainly the games that I had for PC would have been the kids' ones at the time. Also, because of limitations, they'd usually just fall into a few categories. So you'd have your side scrollers, platformers, beat 'em ups, and races. I mean, obviously there were a few exceptions, but certainly I think in the West, that's what we had more or less. It was such a brand new industry that games didn't necessarily need to do anything particularly different or daring. So further down into the PS1-2 area, I can't think of any games that I put down due to the concept alone. If anything, I've always kind of been drawn more to the out there games, and I will battle through questionable gameplay if I'm taken with the concept. And I think a good recent example of that has been Control and Death Stranding. With that in mind, I actually have two choices. And now I've taken the liberty of having two for the simple reason of them just being too hard for me. It's no profound reason other than I just wasn't good enough. So there's only so far I can take this. So the first one was the first Sonic, and that came out for the Sega Mega Drive or Genesis, and that was in 91, so I would have been 6 or 7 when that came out. And I got stuck. It was Act 2 of the Marble Zone. So in total there were 7 zones, each with, I think they had 3 acts in them. And the Marble Zone was the second zone, so basically I got stuck on level 5. I think Marble Zone was it the purpley green one?
Yeah, the green one with lava in it.
Yes.
Lava.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. And the tubes.
I got stuck in exactly the same place on the first Sonic, and I've since seen like videos where they said like the Marble Zone kind of was designed before they worked out what Sonic could do. Like it wasn't designed for a character to move quickly through.
I saw that on a gaming historian YouTube. He said that the Marble Zone was a proof of concept that they didn't want to leave, didn't want to lose it, so they just kept it in. And to this day, they've stated that it should have been nearer to the end of the game.
Well, funny, I mean, the reason actually that I got stuck on this wasn't because I lost control of Sonic or I was constantly being killed in the same area. It was actually I reached a point and I just didn't know what to do to continue. So I wasn't dying repeatedly, but it was kind of, obviously it was before the days of the internet where you could just look for walkthroughs, and I wasn't of any age
was it the obscure bits where you have to stay on the platforms for the lava to shoot you up?
I think that no, because I remember I could do that. I think it was like potentially like a wall that I couldn't figure out how to open.
Yeah.
So anyway,
into it.
Yeah. So I have actually been back, and I played this relatively recently. I think within the last 2 years. There's a version you can play on the PlayStation. I think it's just called the Mega Drive Collection or something, and you can play it on VR. Funny enough, it makes you feel like you're sat in an old 90s bedroom.
Is it that's one I've seen where you can look around and all the VHSs are on the desk.
Yeah, and there's posters. It's actually really cute. But yeah, it's like you're playing it on your tiny TV, and it's a nice sort of trip down fake memory lane. To be fair. But I wanted to play
copies of Razzle.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that in old socks, crusty ones.
Oh no!
But no, I wanted to play it again to see if it was actually as hard, or if it was just because I was young. And I actually found it even more difficult because, like, even for an
Really?
old
Still not
game,
beat it?
Sonic moves. Well, Sonic moves.
Slow.
I'll tell you. So Sonic moves with some actual speed and kind of wildly out of control. And my reactions are more shit now, like considerably worse.
I think he's really
Guess what?
slow on the first one.
I'm terrible at Sonic
I've
games
never
now.
played Sonic before, and I played it today for the first time with my daughter.
No, the first one.
Because she's seen the movie.
He's
and
beat it.
Oh, that's
And
cute.
I was going through my RetroPie and Sonic came up on the screen. She went, "Oh, Sonic." I said, "All right, come on, let's have a look then." And yeah, I
Oh.
sucked at that big time.
Yeah.
He is fast. And you can't see what's coming up in front of you naturally. So then
Have
Yeah.
you not played like the ones
it's
afterwards?
a trial
'Cause
and
I
error
think,
game.
I think the first one's like really slow in comparison to like 2 and 3.
I played Sonic
I
and
can tell you,
Knuckles,
but
and I think I
it's
was
fast enough.
I was quite a lot better at Sonic and Knuckles. But I was
It's
probably that
the
much
design
older.
of the levels more than anything.
I think that was probably the case. But anyway, the on the Mega Drive collection, it's got several options to make it a bit sort of more forgiving, shall we say? I think I think there's about 3 or 4 options you can use. But anyway, you can use save points. So I have completed it as an adult, but I needed that extra bit of help. Got there in the end. The other one is Streets of Rage 1, which was also released in 91, so I was 6.
Banger.
I included this one because it was just, I never got to finish the final big boss. So it's another classic, probably everyone's heard of it, you're all familiar with it. Any listeners that haven't, it's sort of a side-scrolling beat-em-up. You can play it solo or with one other player. There's a choice of 3 characters, Axel Stone, Adam Hunter, or Blaze Fielding, and I was always Axel. Me and my friend one particular friend, we used to play it
I
together.
did not know they had
repeatedly.
surnames.
I had to look it up. I had to look for
I
the
did
actual
not know they had
names.
surnames at all.
Axel Stone. I wonder where they got that from.
I wonder.
Actually, sounds kind of like a porn star. But anyway, moving swiftly on. So I think it was. I think it was more of a case of the sheer amount of time it took to actually get to that point, like the final boss of the game. So remember that no save points. Once you died, and you have to start the whole game again to get back to where you were. And by the time we actually got there, I think we were probably already tired and cranky, and we were probably being told off by our mums for having played the Mega Drive so much. The game itself actually wasn't super challenging up to that point, but it's just that bastard final big boss when he shows up with his machine gun. Like, that's the first machine gun in the entire game, and you introduce it right at the end. No, not having it.
Can you remember the major twist of the big boss on that game?
No.
Can you recall? So he asks you a certain question at the end.
I remember the question.
If you answer it wrong, he sets you back 4 levels.
I didn't know that. See, I always just automatically did what the game probably wanted you to do, because I was a good child.
I wasn't.
So I never chose
What's
that
the
other
question?
option.
What does it ask you?
He asks you something along the lines of.
Game.
He asks you along the lines of something like, "Do you want to join me
Yeah.
in taking over the city?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he sent me back.
I didn't know it sent
Sent
you
me
back. God, that's annoying.
Oh yeah. Like,
Thank God
do
I
you know
never chose
how
that.
near the last level you go up that elevator, don't you? That big long elevator level.
Yeah.
It sends you back way before that.
Fuck that.
With the amount of lives and continues you still have. It's fucking hell.
No, thank you.
no,
Actually,
thank you.
this Streets of Rage was also included in that VR thing as well. So like I said, it was a Sega collection. It's actually a really good collection of games. So if you can find it cheap, go for it.
They did the same version on the Switch, but obviously not VR.
Well, you'll be able to
Really
find
good.
it, but it's probably on all platforms by now, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I tried to go back and play this one, and it did feel, I got bored. It did feel very janky, especially up against Sonic. But that is a good point, actually. Like Sonic 1, it plays pretty flawlessly, really, even by today's standards. It doesn't feel clunky or have a particularly jittery frame rate or anything if you want to sort of go back and revisit it.
No fucking Mario, though, is it?
No fucking Mario, but it's not going to ruin your memories of it. Streets of Rage, not so much.
You need to play Streets of Rage 4. You should play that. The modern game.
Yeah, I started
same
it.
Concept.
I started it. Actually, I think me and Super Natty Cat started playing it for a hot minute.
Yeah. Really good.
I have to go
Really
back
fun.
to it. That's
Excellent.
it for me.
Excellent. Stick.
So I am coming at you with the 1989 NES classic Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
So the oldest game is actually Stig's game.
So quite frankly, fuck this game. Fuck this game into the sun. Jesus Christ!
Wow.
Fuck it into the sun.
I could not beat this game, and it was so hard. It was just relentlessly hard for no reason whatsoever. Why did they make a game this hard? It just makes no sense. For starters,
it does make sense. It's because it's a really short game.
It's to start with that you don't. It's not a multiplayer game, so even if you can't play two of you can't play together, even though there's 4 characters to play with. So you skip. So you can skip between each turtle, but once you die as one of them, they're gone. You move on to the next one.
They're fully dead.
And the problem with this is that Leonardo and Donatello are okay because they've got a staff and a sword, so you kind of used to be able to fight from a distance. Raphael and Michelangelo have the size and the nunchucks, and they're terrible because you have to get right up to the enemies to fight them, which means that they just hit you and you lose life. So as soon as Donatello and Leonardo are out, you're fucked because you just can't play with the other two. They're pointless characters. The game only gave you 2 continues and no password resume state. So if you got really far into the game and died, that was it. You had to start all over again. You couldn't get a password and go back to where you were. You drop inventory items by mistake. You would often find enemies stood at the top of ladders, just not moving. So the only way to progress was to go up there, take damage, and then fight them because they just didn't move. Either they didn't move, or more enemies were joined in that area, so you couldn't get up there without. You stand there and you go, I can't get there without.
I remember one time I playing it. I'd got halfway up the ladder. There was one on top of the ladder, and there was one coming underneath.
Yeah,
fucked.
It's just
fucked.
Yeah, you just have to take damage. And then not only that, I mean, this isn't obviously part of the game being hard, but when you're low on health, it's a really annoying bleep. Yeah. I remember that, it's just like, fuck off. There were jumps that you couldn't get over. They had to be pinpoint perfect jumps. Otherwise, you just couldn't get onto the platform. And I'm not talking like, of course you have to do a good jump. I mean, these jumps were like to the fucking millimeter.
Yeah, to the pixel.
Otherwise, you just couldn't get up to the next level. There's even a jump in the game, which I've discovered since having a quick look back at this game. There's one really hard jump in the game that you can just walk over.
What? So
you'd never know that. You'd never know that in the game because it's a jump. There's a gap. So when you have a gap, your instinct is to jump over that gap. No, you could just walk over it. It's like...
It's a fucking trick.
The game is full of shit like that.
Did you know the PC version is... it's hyperbole to say the NES version is unbeatable, but the PC version is literally unbeatable. When they ported it to DOS in 1990, I think, it was a really shoddy port. Like the music was broken, some of the graphics were broken. But one of the things that happened when they did it, all the tile sets got moved by like 2 pixels or something.
So you couldn't get through.
When they transferred it to a PC screen. So yeah, there was one jump kind of late on the game where no matter what you do, you can't make the jump of the PC because it's too far for any of the turtles to jump.
That's fucking bollocks.
Is that the version
only way
that
people have finished it on the PC is by cheating, by glitching into the next level.
Yeah. I was going to say there is a way to beat the game with a glitch, so it must be the PC version.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's just... It's just so hard.
I don't know if this game was a arcade port, because if it was, they used to make them deliberately difficult so you put more money in, didn't they? I don't know if this was, though.
I don't know if this one was. I have played the Nintendo Turtles arcade game. I've played and beat that.
That's a fighting game, isn't it?
I played and beat it in one sitting. That's a fighting game. So I don't think this is. I think this is just a pure console game.
Yeah, I think this is the one where you can go in the van sometimes, can't you?
Yes, you move from level to level in the van.
Seaweed.
Oh, I'll get to that. Don't you worry. There are levels on this game where you go down and the walls start to come. You know, like you go from, and the walls start to come in and to crush you. And you do all this just for a piece of pizza. It doesn't even progress the game, so it puts you through all this stress just to get a whatever. It's a collectible. I don't even know what. I can't remember what the pizzas do. I know
There's
pizza's
things
delicious,
I've done for
but
pizza that I'm not proud of.
yeah,
Isn't the pizza your health?
there are points where you'll die from falling into water. Keep in mind you're a turtle.
No non-swimmers.
There are levels where you swim, but there are also levels where you die from falling into water. It makes no sense.
Different type of water.
So, the swimming level, the dam level, this is where I came stuck. This is the one that I never got past. I never made it to the Technodrome, never finished this game, never even got to the last boss. The dam is a level where you have 2 minutes and 20 seconds to defuse a bomb. And to do that, you have to swim through electric seaweed. And you have to swim through this electric
nature thing.
Yeah, you have to swim through the electric seaweed, like Needle said earlier, pixel perfect, because you just keep getting battered and battered and battered by the seaweed. And then not only that is, for some reason, there's also these electric rays that come down that you then have to, they'll come on, they'll go off, and then you have to swim through these barricades like that. For some reason, they're underwater as well with the electric seaweed. So you're fighting the electric seaweed and having to time your way through these. Never did it. Could never do it.
It's mad because this is on a console that has good swimming levels like the Mario ones. Good swimming, you know what I mean? It's like, and wasn't this Konami that made this?
I'm not too sure.
They were known for
actually.
making some absolute bangers back then.
I don't think it was. But can I just
Didn't they do
share...
the arcade one though?
Yeah, they did a load of turtle
do this
games.
one. Can I share something with you as I was doing a little bit of like because I remember this game being really difficult and just never being able to finish it, and I did think, was it just me? Was I just being shit when I was younger, or was it a really hard game? Turns out it was a really hard game, and a lot of people have the same trouble. And I came across this video on YouTube, and the way the guy describes this game at the end is just sums it up perfectly. And I just want to share that with you guys.
Ah, yes, the angry video game nerd.
I think I used to work with him.
Cowabunga. Cow a fucking piece of dog shit. This game is diarrhea coming out of my dick. This game is as appealing as a fucking ooze-infested, dirty fucking sewer rat shit. I've had more fun playing with dog turds. Shredders my ass and splinters my balls. This game is an inside-out asshole regurgitating putrid anal fecal matter. I'd rather fucking yank all the hairs out of my scrotum. I'd rather drink diarrhea vomited out of a buffalo's anus. It sucking fucks, it fucking sucks, it fucking blows, it's a piece of shit. And I don't like it.
9 out of 10.
That is my feelings exactly on that game.
We'll play again.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
He didn't like it, did he? That young man.
No, there's a pinned message at the bottom that says 14 years later he decided to finish it. He went back to it, but only 14 years later.
I wonder if you could have used the Game Genie to make you invincible. That would have been a fun little playthrough, so you can't actually die.
Do you know what? I've got this game on ROMs. That I was hoping to try and play it before this episode. I'd never
Get them cheats on it, mate. Get them cheats on it.
I might just have a little play to see if I can do any of it now I'm older, or whether it just is a stupidly hard game.
These are all we should stream this as a series, just games of his youth.
Oh, I'd be up for that.
God. I'd be
Funny
raging
as
at that
fuck.
game. There's another game I'll mention in the Patreon section that I just also had me.
Oh, I've got a few. But before all that, Gadget, you're a man of culture. You've played many a game. You've never finished any, but
Fuck
played some.
you! Well, okay, this one specifically I haven't finished.
Well, that's the whole point of the episode.
Yeah, that is the point of this one.
And this one is going to take the crown of the oldest game because it came out 2 months before Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles did.
Oh, he had to win, didn't he?
Of course it did. I want to talk about the 1989 video game Prince of Persia.
Oh, no, now we're talking.
Never played it.
I have not beat this game. It is fucking solid.
So,
solid.
Prince of Persia is a fantasy cinematic platformer designed and implemented by Jordan Mechner for the Apple II and ported to about everything else that was out at the time.
I had it on Commodore 64.
DOS.
We had the DOS version. I think it was either the DOS or the Amstrad CPC because we had both of them kicking about at one point because my dad used to get random computers from work. And it's a fucking nightmare of a game. It's a side-scrolling kind of platform puzzler combat-y game. It's absolutely beautiful. The artwork was hand rotoscoped
Oh, yes.
Say that again.
Fuck off.
Rotoscope.
Rotoscope. Fucking live my life like this.
This episode is going to be called
again.
Rotoscoped.
Rotoscoped.
Google, please translate.
StreamYard, kick Biggie. Anyway, so basically hand animated animations of all the movements based on the movements of an actual person. The combat stuff, I was reading on the Wikipedia, the actual combat animations were based on the final duel scene between Errol Flynn and Basil Rathbone in The Adventures of Robin Hood, the 1938 film. It's an absolutely beautiful game in motion. It's also one of the biggest bullshit artists I've ever encountered because the platforming is so fucking hard in it.
It's beyond precise, isn't it? It's beyond it.
Beyond precise. Sticks talking about pixel perfect jumps there. Nah. Prince of Persia. That's some fucking pixel perfect stuff. Because you die so easily as well. You have like 2 HP. You will just fall to your death rapidly. I've got some... for the people on YouTube, I do have some gameplay so you can actually see what it looks like. I'm going to play it without the sound while I talk about it. It is this one. So, I mean, the actual motion of the characters is absolutely beautiful, given that this was 1989. And this was the first game to use kind of rotoscoped animations. It actually became a standard kind of in the 90s. But every platform that you jump over is ultra-precise. Doors that you stand on, buttons to open, they will come down quite rapidly, so you've then got to kind of jump and move very quickly. I'll have been 3 when this came out, so I didn't play it probably until I was about 5 or 6.
Look how pretty it is, though.
Yeah, me handling a keyboard to try and move this character around. Like, I've struggled with this on a fucking controller. Also, this game has one of the greatest covers of all time. Like and I'm just going to kind of flip over the cover there to this.
Oh, wow.
Which is incredible. Slightly rapey. I mean, it is.
It's massively rapey.
Yeah, the plot line for it is something to behold. And I can't pull that out. So the plot line involves you having to save the princess from the sultan's daughter has been locked in her tower by the king's royal vizier, Jafar, and you have an hour to save her. This is the first speedrunning game.
How did he kill that really quick?
I know.
The vizier is called Jafar, right?
The vizier is called Jafar.
Yeah, it's called Jafar.
And he has a little, he has a little twiddly beard and mustache
I was going to
say
that box out there just looked like Aladdin.
Yeah.
Like
but
Aladdin rips this off massively.
Jafar's in Arabian Nights.
Yeah. I mean, this is based on Arabian Nights to a degree.
Yeah, that came out before Aladdin.
Yeah. The game is really, really difficult. I have never got... You basically have to work your way through 12 levels of this tower to get to the princess and save her from Jafar. But I never made it beyond level 2. Like, what we're seeing on screen here, where they're moving up to the next level, that is the first... That's the only one of those screens I've ever seen in the game. And I used to play this all the fucking time. It is so difficult. It's unreal.
The prince is unreasonably white for an Iranian, isn't he?
Well, yeah.
It's one of those things, isn't it? Of its time.
You have time working it. Like I say, you only have an hour to beat the game. Or if you got the Super Nintendo version, it was 120 minutes because they added extra levels to it that were even harder. Well, I could imagine playing it on the Super Nintendo might be a little bit easier with a controller. Honestly, playing this on a keyboard was an absolute fucking nightmare. You had to be careful of spikes on the ground. There were traps everywhere. Platforms would fall out from underneath you. It's a sadomasochistic game. It just wants to punish the player. It hates anyone who plays this game. The game hates you. So, Prince of Persia. So fucking difficult.
I never finished
it.
An anecdote about this game. So, remember the reboot, one of the many reboots, Sands of Time? The good one. Yeah. There was a really crazy way of unlocking this game on that game. Do you know what I mean? It was built in and you could unlock it by doing some crazy unlockables or whatever it is back then. And it was so difficult to get to unlock this game to play. And I remember doing it so much and then finally unlocking it and then realising how shit this is. And It was so fucking frustrating for me because everyone's like, "Oh, Prince of Persia, it's 2 games in one. You get the original Prince of Persia." I'm like, "Oh, brilliant! Let's see what." It's so.
I played this game
tough.
a lot, and I never finished it.
Did you get
It
beyond
reminded me
level 2?
it reminded me of how Flashback played and stuff like that. Remember Flashback?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Flashback was a lot easier.
Like Flashback and like Another World, they all kind of took this style of
Yeah.
gameplay and kind of took it in the same kind of way of kind of animating everything. So
How did they animate it?
they rotoscoped it.
It does look so
Very
nice,
properly.
though. Even just watching it now, it's really pretty. I remember watching a
Yeah.
documentary on the animation and everything. But funny enough, I've got a anecdote about Sands of Time as well. It was my first experience of a game-breaking bug. I'd run up a wall, hit a switch, and the switch didn't do what it was supposed to do. And my childhood ended that day.
Oh,
Yeah, because you can't reload a previous save because you only had one save file.
Yep, exactly. I can't remember what I played it on, actually. Was it? It must have been PS2? Was it PS2?
PS2.
Yeah.
Well, did you know that game's built into it? So go back and play it and unlock Prince of Persia.
or just wait for the remake, which is apparently going to come on the 12th of Never.
Development hell.
They have rebooted that game so many times. It even turned into Assassin's Creed once, didn't it?
It did, yeah.
Assassin's Creed was supposed to be Prince of Persia.
It was a Assassin's Creed was a
movie as
spin-off
well.
of Prince of Persia originally, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
What was the one they did in 2009 where they made him like emo and give him a Navi?
That was
that
Forgotten
Warrior-
Sands.
No,
that was Warrior Within.
Warrior Within and Godsmack played whenever you went
Godsmack.
into battle.
No. There was Warrior Within was part of the like there was a trilogy. Of them, and
Yeah.
but then there was one that they rebooted it again in 2009, and it had like him, Zachary Levi, playing the voice of the prince.
I'm sure it's Forgotten Sands.
Nope, it was its own thing.
I can't remember.
The one where he's
I'm
got
able to prove that to you.
that red mask on. Is that one with the girl? Running around with the girl all the time. Yeah, I remember that one. I didn't play it
2008,
much.
yeah. But it wasn't.
You couldn't die in it,
wasn't
could you?
linked-
You actually was immortal in it.
Yeah, because your girlfriend kept like picking you up and putting you back down.
Picking you up, so you couldn't actually die at all in the game. There's no peril in it whatsoever.
She was just playing Lakitu. Yeah, it was absolutely terrible.
Yeah, I
He
remember that.
looked really emo with his guy line.
Oh,
and
that's
everything.
it. Yeah. Look at his claw. Known for his claw, the Prince of Persia.
Yeah, he's... Oh,
Didn't
God,
he have
that
a
was
name like
good, though,
Gaston or something like that?
In the
That's his real
film.
name.
In the film only.
Is that what it is in his
Yeah.
film? Jake Gyllenhaal, known Persian.
But anyway, yes, Prince of Persia. It was so fucking difficult.
Yeah,
Never finished.
I would
it.
like-
Never got past the second fucking level.
I would like to see like a proper like HD super souped up version that looks like the Oddworld games, but exactly the same
controls.
controls. Just see if anyone can do it.
Oh, settle down,
So
Satan.
cool. Yeah,
Those controls were dreadful.
yeah, because Oddworld seemed to have got a little bit of a thing from that as well, didn't it? Then, if you think about it, because that's quite
Yeah,
there's a lot of games
sort of
that-
hardcore, difficult platformers.
Yeah. Cool. But what do our hardcore difficult listeners have in store for us?
Just quickly, I'm not a competitive man. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles came out first. Moving on.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Unbelievable.
All the way through Gadget's segment then, Stig's fucking relentlessly Googling.
No, I just had that up my Wikipedia, and then I was looking at his like that as well. So
Fine.
moving on.
I don't care. Okay.
Another win for Stig.
Yes.
And I was born before both games.
You were born
not a
before
win.
electricity.
So was
mate.
I.
Anyway,
They all were.
feedback-wise, Xenos has said, one of the first games I ever played was the original Sonic the Hedgehog, and I was absolutely terrible at it. I could just not get to the Green Hill Zone boss consistently. Why? Bunch of pillars moving up and down where you had to stop and time your jumps instead of just running at them and hoping. That's called gameplay, Xenos. I think I only got past it about 3 times whilst I still had the Sega Mega Drive I was playing it on, and I didn't get through Marble Garden Zone on any of those runs either. You'd think I would have worked out eventually, and technically I did, but I was playing that when I was about 7, and I didn't get to go back and try it again until I was about 15.
Do none of you here know what that final boss on the first Sonic is?
Yeah.
Because that is a
I've beaten
fucking rock hard final boss.
Yeah, I must have done it on my
Robotnik's
my
coming
replay.
down with the pneumatic lift.
Oh fuck yeah!
It's so difficult.
That was a bastard. Even with the little helpers, that was a shit.
Yeah, it's so hard.
Yeah, but to be fair, it's not the hardest level in the game. The hardest level in the game is Labyrinth Zone.
Labyrinth.
Fucking
yeah,
underwater.
Pure panic.
Still gives us goosebumps today. Speaking of difficult listeners, Super Natty Cat has written in.
How was she written?
She's a collection of words thrown at Twitter in some kind of random
Why
order.
does she do this repeatedly?
Just to wind Biggie up.
It does.
It worked.
So she has said, on my PS2, me and my best friend Dan played the absolute bejesus out of Crazy Taxi. Our favourite driver was always BD Joe because we thought he said ass, and ass was a rude word. We were about 10 at the time, bless her. We could play the game and go around the clock dropping off peeps, but then there were the challenge levels where you had to jump through hoops or not fall off narrow tracks and stuff. We could do them all easy peasy until we got to one level where there was this massive ramp and you had to go as fast as you could and jump off the end, and we could not do it. No matter how far we reversed or if we drove around and then did it, no bloody good. Had us stumped for literally the entirety of the PS2 lifespan. Until, as 15-year-olds, it all changed. I just so happened to stumble across the bit of the manual that said how to boost. You can boost. It was a bloody revelation. All of a sudden, we completed the challenge and felt like we had achieved godly status. Good times.
I didn't know that came out on PS2. I thought it was Dreamcast and Xbox.
No,
That's when I
PS2
played
as well.
it. It was in the arcade and that.
Crazy Taxi! And then,
Simpsons one was pretty good as well.
Simpsons, they did that hit and run thing or whatever it was called.
Yeah. Shin Ezim has said, most of the hidden gems in Crash 2 and 3 were a real pain to find as a kid. Much easier to find them when I grew up. Crash Bandicoot 2 and 3 were really psychotically difficult in places.
Crash Bandicoot is brutal. As a platformer, it is brutal. Remember when they did the remake of a year and everyone's like, why is this so hard? I'm like, because it is. It's a hard game.
It was the side-scrolling levels where you're working up like the building. Oh, they were so hard. Where you're having to like
running
jump
away from the boulder.
The boulder was fine. Hogwild was also awful.
When you're on the pig.
There was one of those on a bridge, and I just could never beat that one.
There was, on the first Crash Bandicoot, there's a bridge level. I've never got past it, ever. I don't know where it's like Misty Bridge or something like that, and it's fucking ridiculous because the floor just gives away. Oh, and then someone told me you can run on the ropes. I'm like, what? You can just skip the whole level and run on the ropes. Stupid games.
Angry Curtis said, as you may be aware, I'm a big fan of the Roller Coaster Tycoon series and any kind of park building games. The first RCT game was brilliant and I finished every park on there. I picked up Roller Coaster Tycoon 2, which I still really love because I had the same gameplay, but with the addition of real parks like Alton Towers and Six Flags in America. But for some reason, it was so much harder than the first game. So much so that I never finished a single parks challenge in the game despite being older and an expert at the first game. Also, shout out to any kind of platformer back when I was a little one. I couldn't get my head around them, and the one that sticks out is Hercules, licensed game based on the film. What was it? Disney's action game featuring Hercules. I think that was the title.
That's a fucking good game, that.
All Disney games. The Lion King, Aladdin, Hercules, are all bastards.
Yeah.
Solid.
Lion King and Aladdin, I remember were hard.
You not play Lost Planet, even Atlantis? Ooh, rock hard. Rock hard games.
I found it really tough, and only through weeks of practice did I get past the first couple of levels. Looking at gameplay of it now, it looks like it would be an absolute breeze. No, it's still difficult.
No, it's not.
Still an absolute bastard.
I played both Aladdin and because you could get Aladdin and Lion King on the Switch.
Yeah,
still both solid.
I've got them.
Still both absolutely solid.
There's that fucking level on Lion King. I just can't wait to be king.
Yeah,
and
you got to jump off the giraffes' noses and
Jesus Christ.
Swinging off the monkeys. Yeah, fucking hell.
That was fun though.
Awful.
Hard but fun.
I did finish Lion King though. That's the one I did get that because I did.
I finished it because
I threw Scar off the top of it.
You fight Scar, and then you've got to like
drag
it, push him off, haven't you? Yeah, I remember finishing it, but I didn't finish Aladdin. I found the magic carpet level quite difficult.
Yeah, that's like the third level as well. It's a really difficult level.
Yeah, you're getting out of the Cave of Wonders. It's fucking rock hard, that man.
Ray said, "Hi, Modern Escapism. Though story-rich games like RPGs and adventure games are less skill-sensitive and considered relatively non-gamer friendly, I struggled with them as a kid because I did not have the ability to read long texts. As such, I often gave up halfway, losing the plot or getting stuck because I missed some instructions. To be fair, I still do that today. I cannot remember how I heard the name Planescape Torment or Baldur's Gate when I was little, but I knew they should be good games. Unfortunately, the rich lore of the story delivered by well-written, long conversations and the deep system D&D proved to be too much for a child, and my progress of these two games had been stopped at the first few scenes in more than a decade. It is funny that right now a story-rich game may be my favourite to check out when buying new games. Time can certainly bring some strange changes. There is a part of me that wants the Baldur's Gate version on the Switch just so I can play it again.
I've got it.
I love those games as kids.
It plays really good. I've got Planescape Torment as well. Fuck, those games are so good. I didn't know they were D&D, but that makes sense.
Yeah.
Do not put Baldur's Gate on your TV. That's what I'm saying.
That's awful. So
All right, to put on the Switch screen. If you put it on the big screen,
it's gross. You may as well get cheese graters on your eyeballs.
It's not
Awful.
good.
I could also
RPGs
get the
certainly,
enhanced edition.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, which is a lot better.
RPGs definitely hold your hand a lot more now. If you compare like Skyrim to the older ones, Oblivion and Morrowind and everything, you used to have like a notepad, like a fucking telephone directory worth of notes to know where you're going. Like some of the clues that you just have to head east.
Candy, you
hope for
didn't
the
play
best.
Dragon Quest 2, where there is no plot and you have to talk to people, and then you've got to get clues to decipher the plot while you're fighting, and random battles, even in houses and towns. That was difficult.
Final Fantasy VII again. When you go into a game
It's not
like
hard.
that, no, if you save your game and then don't play it for a long time and go back, there's no pointers like where you're supposed to be going. So unless you find one NPC that goes, "Hey, you should be heading off there," otherwise
Because you're not supposed to
don't know where
complete it
you're
in
going.
10 years. That's why.
Yeah, all right, I have. Otherwise, it would have made this show.
So, Candy, if you want a large map to play on, you should try Elder Scrolls Daggerfall.
It's
I've
massive.
heard. So I've heard.
Because it's approximately, according to Google, 209,331 square kilometres. Or
Wow.
the size of Great Britain.
Yeah, and
Okay,
a lot
so
of
if we
it's
do
not
our retro
empty.
game streams, I'll choose that one. That's got to be the one I do.
You'd think it was empty that big. It's not an empty game, is it, Daggerfall?
No.
It's
No.
fucking dense.
The
That's a
whole
real
of
feat for its time, then, wasn't it?
It was ugly as
The-
fuck, that's why.
Yeah.
the whole of Skyrim fits into one of its islands.
My God.
It's fucking massive.
And people on the internet are saying the next Elder Scrolls game should be a Daggerfall one. No, we can't physically do it on the media that we've got. It won't work.
And we all know it's Hammerfell.
No, I don't know.
Last up, Deadbeat Punk's back.
Uh-oh.
And he's done one of these things. I have no idea how to say this word, so I'm just going to go with what comes out of me gob. Dearest moribund asvestiations.
It's probably an insult.
Estivations? I don't know. I saw our dear Stig giving out the lonely teenager at last orders vibes on social media, just begging for anyone to throw him a bit of feedback in the hopes of giving him a shred of relevance. At least the margarine equivalent of feeling relevant. So I'll take a rare case of pity on him. I mean, he seems so distraught after losing Eurovision again. He's gone in hard.
What?
A title I will always remember failing to get my head around was Super Metroid. I must apologise because the story is recycled from some feedback I sent to the Biggie nominated and Biggie losers Kane and Rince. I was captivated by Super Metroid. This was not your standard runner and gunner. This was a remote planet you had to explore, memorise and unlock. It was spooky. There was a real sense of foreboding. If I was a bit older and not as fucking ugly, I would have known that the atmosphere of Zebes had absorbed me in with its masterful soundtrack and visuals in capturing a sense of isolation that gave birth to my first case of total immersion into another world. I remember this being the one game which I actually surrendered the controller to an older relative to help me during a boss fight. The controls just completely eluded me. I desperately wanted to continue the story to further my adventure. But for those that know me, my ego, arrogance and pride knew no limits. I was ever so disgusted with myself. Eventually I had to turn off the console and return to Mega Man. Super Metroid had beaten me, but at least I could kick Dr. Wily's sexually harassed head as a toddler in science spandex. But Super Metroid stayed with me. That world had a draw that I could not shake. The cartridge filled me with a sense of dread, and he's put in brackets, no. Every time I thought about putting it back into the SNES, I remembered the frustration and embarrassment of not being able to conquer the game. Like most mental blocks, there was only one way through it. One wet and windy weekend a few years later, I finally mustered up the courage to return to the game. I just finished Donkey Kong Country 3, so the N64 must have only been around the corner, as that was one of my last purchases for the SNES. Useless information, but this is how I gauged time in childhood. Samus Aran had left her gunship and got ready for another crack at fulfilling her destiny. This time it stuck. Controls that escaped me previously suddenly felt natural. I could see the logic where the hidden walls and paths may be located. Enemy patterns showed themselves, and before long, weighed down with upgrades and covered in whatever liquid matter coursed through whichever sorry sucker that got in my way, I finally made it to the credits. A fantastic moment for Kiddie Punk, an important life lesson that has been carried on to this day. If you ever get overwhelmed and think you aren't capable of something, go and play Super Metroid again. Then go sort out whatever fucking problem you need to. Lots of love, Debbie Punk, the what the fuck do you want cunt. P.S. I know Ireland didn't qualify, Jedward were busy washing each other's hair. P.P.S. Graham Norton was there, so you're welcome for that.
What is he on about?
Eurovision.
Graham Norton sings in the Eurovision.
No, he commentates on it because Terry Wogan's not alive anymore.
Terry Wogan's not alive.
He retired.
He's
I'm joking.
long retired. I voted in Eurovision last night, and when you phoned to vote,
watched it, mate.
When you phoned to vote, Graham Norton answered. It's obviously a pre-recorded thing, but it made me jump because I thought it actually was. I was very drunk by this point.
Did you look around in case you was in Graham Norton's chair so he could flip you backwards?
Oh, God, imagine. No, I didn't think of that.
I finished with Metroid twice.
Back to Super Metroid, yeah.
Just the first one was hard enough as well. The one on the NES.
Yeah. I think the first one's way hard. Super Metroid, I didn't complete until I was a teenager. I played it as a kid, but as a fuck, that I think it sounds ageist, this, but I think the older you are, the easier it is to grasp the concepts of it because it is an isolating game and stuff like that. And even though there is a map there, it's still... I mean, it birthed a genre, didn't it? So...
The one thing I remember getting stuck on, there was a particular part of the level where you have to wall jump, double jump, up.
There's that one where you have to do that super jump as well, and it's so difficult.
Yeah, all the way you have to
the button combinations
off the wall. Oh, that just did my fucking head in. But I managed
it's a good game, but
yeah.
I think the ones after it, the Game Boy Advance ones and stuff like that, I think they perfected it more. And obviously, Metroid Dread,
Metroid Dread's the definitive. I was talking to Xenos about this on Friday night when I was hammered, and basically we both came to the agreed conclusion that Metroid on the NES is one of those rare games that actively hates the player.
All
it
NES
wants you
games
to die.
NES games weren't easy, none of them.
All NES games hate players.
Whereas Super Metroid is kind of like the refinement of the of the formula.
The controls
are
better, but it's still just as hard.
Yeah, when I told my brother I was what we're doing this week, and the first game he said was Metroid.
Yeah,
it was
solid,
the first game he just said he struggled with was Metroid.
It's fucking solid.
Yeah.
Metroid 2 was hard as well, and then they remade that.
That's because it was on the Game Boy.
Samus Returns, I think they called it when they remade it. It's still they're quite difficult games when you think about it. Lot harder than Castlevania, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Dread wasn't exactly easy. It was smooth.
No, it weren't.
It's not easy.
It weren't easy. No. Is that everything then, boss?
Yeah, that's everything.
Matt from TCGS, the ribbon he got for the control system was funny as fuck.
Well, that was fucking hilarious watching it.
I don't think the controls are bad. It's just complicated.
Well, no, he couldn't get his head around the controls.
Oh.
You should go back and watch their live streams on it and watch him shouting at the Mother Brain fight because he was losing his shit because he kept falling off the platforms.
Mother Brain was difficult, man.
Oh, the first phase, before you got into the first phase before you get into the proper fight.
First bit.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a tough game. I wouldn't ever shout at anyone for not being able to finish that. It's fucking rock hard. Is that everybody?
It is, yeah.
So, as always, you can find all the links in our show notes. Go on to modernescapism.co.uk and consider joining our Patreon. Next week, we are doing a concept episode. I don't think we're going to have a full house, so we've decided to have some fun. We're going to create our own gaming conferences, aren't we, Gadget? Can you explain that, please?
Well, the season is rapidly approaching us for what would have been E3 seasons. Now, it's Jeff Keighley season. approaching quite rapidly. So, we're going to set up our own little conferences, detail some guests, some games that we're going to announce that are probably entirely not real. It's just going to be really, really fucking stupid.
I'm going to have Chris Rock present the Will Smith Award.
ME is going to be the new E3.
Yes, ME. Love it, Stig. I love it. So we're going to do his own conference. So
Didn't think very hard on it, to be honest.
if you've got ideas, listeners, you know where to fire them. And for our patrons, we'll see you in the green room in a second. But for everyone else, this has been an episode. Good night.
Thanks for not spending money.
Every time, Biggie, you wave, they're not watching this bit.
Oh, for fuck.
You can wave to us, though.
And I've got a massive gash. A massive gash. A massive gash.
A massive gash.